Welcome to Lashback, everyone. I'm Natalyan.
And I'm Phoebe. And today we're talking Single Awareness Day. I mean, Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day.
Single Awareness Day.
So, on that note, then, because you and me have, I wouldn't say different opinions, I'd say we have different thoughts, experiences, wants, because I'm kind of aligned with you on the Single Awareness Day, and I'm also part of me because of my Hallmark channel that I watch, especially at Christmas, kind of takes me to the Valentine's thing. So, Phoebe, what does it mean to you? So, you've already kind of stated that you know it as Single Awareness Day. So, over to you.
A friend of mine, about 20 years ago, a friend of mine called it Single Awareness Day. And I have called it Single Awareness Day ever since, even when I was married, which I don't think really impressed my husband very much. But I remember once actually going out for a meal, with my significant other on Valentine's Day. We went to our favourite restaurant, this Thai place in Upper Holloway. And we were really
Nice.
looking forward to the usual restaurant experience that we loved this place for. But no, no. We were out the back in some Shacks Up Extra area because there was a busy restaurant that night, and we were sat on tables of two, and the place had no vibe whatsoever. And from that day on, I'm like, this is a sham, and another reason to just buy a card. And really, bit like how I think about Christmas. Why do you just need a day to like express your love or your kindness to all men? We should be doing that all the time. So I'm a little
Yeah.
bit anti the commercialism of it, I've got to say.
Yeah, I get that, and so I've gone through. It depends on what's going on in my life, right?
Yeah.
But Single Awareness Day, I think, is key. But for me, definitely shouldn't be. Oh, okay, Valentine's. I'll buy them some flowers and a card. That for me, I do that with people I care about. Like I've bought you presents before, and then sometimes you won't get nothing on your birthday. You'll get a message
Yeah.
and a little voice note of me singing, and then other times I'm like, I'm going to buy you something because I've seen something you really like, you know? So for me, you should be doing that anyway. And Valentine's, it's definitely a commercial thing. It's definitely a
Mm.
commercial thing. And I think as well that for Valentine's, if you're going to celebrate, what I like to do when I've been in a relationship is take a little trip away, right? Or if you go out for dinner, if you go out for dinner, don't go out on the 14th.
Exactly. It's no vibes.
Yeah, no vibes. And I don't like being crammed in a restaurant when it's busy. I always order, I've done this for tonight actually. I always book tables of four, even if there's two, and then I get there and I say, oh, they're coming. Oh, they're not coming.
Ah,
So you've got more room because I don't want that. And I also wouldn't want a dinner date as well from a just a dating perspective. For me, I'd rather not go for dinner the first time anyway. So if you're doing that as a date, like I wonder if people are going on like apps, for example, and finding dates for Valentine's because they don't want to be alone on Valentine's. I've never felt that. I couldn't care less.
no.
I don't get that. Oh, I'm on my own Valentine's. I'm more bothered about being single at Christmas. Not that I particularly care, but
See, this is
Christmas.
it, isn't it? These kind of milestones that they put in the year, which are really just like marketing ploys to make us buy things, that
Yeah, more expensive.
can actually and more expensive. Yeah, they
Yeah.
can
Of
actually trigger people into
course they
things
can.
unnecessarily. Having said all of that, my mum always sends me a Valentine's card, and she has done
That's
since I was
cute.
about 5.
That's
And
cute.
that I like that. And if mum doesn't send me a Valentine's card, she just
Oh,
puts a kiss. She doesn't even say
I
it.
haven't
I'm
got,
like, Mum, I know it's you.
I haven't got one. And funnily enough, like any guys I have met in the last year don't know where I live anyway. So I don't know why I'm going to look on my doorstep because they don't. I'm not going to give my address to random guys, right? I'm just not.
Not in this day and age. Although that's interesting, isn't it? I do wonder, like dating apps and things like that. I've been seeing a lot of reels recently about how modern dating is in crisis. Around
Oh, it is.
how, and that Harvard study that said, married men are likely to be happier and unmarried women are likely to be happier.
Yeah, I
Which is,
completely believe
which
that.
is like some really interesting sort of recent research out of academia around sort of modern day relationships. And I was watching this, I cannot remember the source and I should remember it. Maybe I'll post it in the comments I'll find it and post it. Around this lady saying how women have evolved, you know, with second wave feminism, we've evolved into different sort of ways of being in the world, and men don't have a clear role. She was like, she said, my granddad
Yeah.
knew his role as provider. He knew that
Yeah.
role, and you know, if he was kind and friendly, that was a bonus. But these days, there's no kind of reimagining of what that male partner role is. Although women have reimagined what their role in the home and within relationships could, should, would be. So
Yeah.
we've got an interesting area here. So I do wonder whether dating apps and whatnot are busier on Valentine's Day, or whether the women are running a mile.
Well, I think that any listeners here should let us know if you're on dating apps. I haven't done dating apps since I think I went on Tinder for about 3 weeks in 2010-ish. And I found myself, I think I might have even said this in one of our episodes, but I found myself copying and pasting my answers because people asked the same questions and it was getting annoying. So I've thought to myself, well, shall I go back on a dating app? And I think that it'd have to be a specific type of one, but I think that I would make a rule that you chat for a few days and then you meet up.
Yeah.
I'm not doing this dragged out thing because people on text, even from my previous relationship and that, are completely different on text to reality. And I think you can't know, you've got to just get out there and meet people. And I think that the dating apps, as you just mentioned, has changed that landscape. I really want to meet people in person, but you have to think about where you're going to. Like the places I go in South Carolina, for example, I mean, I'm never going to meet anyone in those places because they're all married, you know.
Yeah, you kind of have to make it a to-do list, don't you? It's funny, talking about Tinder, you know, years ago I went on tour with a rock band. So I'm you know, early 40s and traveling around with a bunch of 20-somethings.
Yeah,
And we'd roll into a town in our vans and we'd be like, get a gig. You know, we'd get there in the morning and we'd get a gig for that night. And then we'd be like, God, we'd better go fly. We'd go out and busk in the afternoon and get people maybe interested in coming to the gig. But the guitarist used to get on Tinder and get girls to
see if there was people
come
local.
to our gigs.
Yeah,
on
because you can see
Tinder.
the distance. You can see the distance, can't you? So wherever you're traveling, I mean, if that's not hookup central, I don't know what is then.
A gig, totally.
Yeah, yeah,
Totally.
completely. So I don't know. I've been watching. This is you would not like it, I don't think. But recently, just as background trash TV, been watching that show that was from years ago. Like they're all the people that were in their 20s on this show are now our age in our 40s. Millionaire Matchmaker. I don't know if you've
Oh,
ever
yeah, I remember that.
watched it. If you watch it now, you'll be horrified. They would not get away with the things she says now,
Really?
or what even is, you know. I can't even begin to say that how TV's changed, how society's changed. But one thing I was thinking about is that, you know, if I did do dating in that kind of structured way again, I'd quite like to go to a matchmaker,
Yeah, why not?
you know, rather than get on an app and put pictures of myself and then say what I want. Because what I've also realised is that when you say what you want, it's not as straightforward as just saying what you want. Like I want someone who's successful, but will make time for me. I want someone who, you know, generally people, you know, women like us, you know, successful, independent, you know, we've got a lot going on. We are fine on our own. That's very attractive until someone wants you to settle down. And then that's not as attractive anymore. You know what I mean? I've had that. I can't speak for anyone but myself, but I've had that my whole life. It then becomes emasculating.
Yeah,
According to
totally.
other
And
people I've been told.
I was a really bad wife. I'm really bad at doing my washing and staying on top of housework and stuff. So I was a really bad wife.
Why does that make you a bad wife,
Well, because
right?
I think that's kind of like what, you know, I know so many women that are quite happily married and in relationships, like living with partner, and they're quite happily, maybe it's better these days and, you know, the housework is shared or whatever, but the emotional labor stays with the woman. You know, I'll ask you to empty the dishwasher rather than you do it on your own, that kind of thing. And I've already forgotten. So like, I actually need to share my life with somebody that can keep on track of those things, and that in itself is emasculating. And that's what that woman was saying. Gosh, I wish I could remember. That's what she was saying about how there isn't a new role or a new sense of identity for chaps in modern day relationships, because most households these days have to be two income households. That's just the way modern economy does. In the 50s, a man could, on one income, could have a house, a car, a couple of kids, a wife, a dog, a hobby, and that's just two people, two incomes struggle now with one kid and one dog and maybe not even a car. So it's like that the economics of modern kind of capitalism has meant that that sort of old way of thinking that one person can stay home and do household and the other person goes out in the world and earns.
Which is fair enough. If that's possible, and somebody, like when I have been in a relationship and I haven't, had a music contract or business contract, because there's gaps in the work that we do, there's no way I'd not clean the house and get food ready and stuff, not because someone's told me to do it. But then if the roles are reversed, in my experience, I've then had to do both.
Yeah.
So again, that's me picking the right people. But also the word emasculating, which is very interesting to me, is that there isn't an opposite version of that. It's one way. Yeah. But emasculating to me needs to be scrapped, because it's like you can't have it both ways. And I said this: if the woman is providing, for example, and you're happy for them to provide, then you can't be emasculated by that, right?
Right.
Can't. Or if you want to say, I want the man to going back to Valentines, the man to do something, then I'll do something as well. But then if I do something, don't be emasculated by it. You can't have it all ways, right? You can't have it all ways. And I like spoiling people. It doesn't mean you've got to but for me, cards are very key, like you were saying, but handwritten cards. I'm not a fan of digital cards. I've been getting them recently over the last few years, which I get when, you're in different countries. But it's not got anything. It's literally just your email address that someone's put in. For me, when I write cards, if I do get you a card, like I've written one for my friend today, I wrote in some stuff. She'd really helped me last year with things that were going on. And I kind of reflected on that and even referred back to, when we first met and how our friendships become really important to me. I didn't just pop to from. Or there's no point, I'll just give you a present or I'll cuddle.
Yeah.
So for me, cards are
on the bag.
Cards are important because it's about appreciating. So Valentine's can be good for that, right? In the sense that you don't need to buy me things, but it's, especially if we've got busy lives, make some time to spend with each other. But you should be doing that anyway. But if you want to do something with Valentine's, because it can be cute, and these holidays, whilst commercial, are about, I've realised this, about breaking up the year, because otherwise the year would just be one long blob of time if you don't have these definitive points around seasons and I've got this to look forward to, and that, like Halloween and all those things. So I've learned to embrace that, because I was quite, not against is probably the wrong word, but I felt very much about commercial. But I think if you embrace it the way you want, so on Valentine's, if you're both really busy people, building your nest egg, getting the things you want, you can always make time for people you care about. I don't care. I'm one of the busiest people on the planet. I always have been. There's other people just as busy. But if I want to spend time with you, Phoebe, or somebody else, I will find a way, even if we book it 6 weeks in advance. So spend time with people, get a Valentine's card or a bit of paper and write down what you appreciate about them. That's key, I think. Taking a moment to realise, because, that person could be gone in moments. We all know, we've all experienced that. Right, so it's about appreciating the people for me, over the last 5 years, I would say, I've definitely evolved as a human being myself, and I don't like to say get rid, but I only spend time now with the people that really matter to me, because there's not enough time to spend it with everybody. And I do need something back as well. It doesn't have to always be balanced, but I do need something back. If I'm not getting anything back, then eventually I'm not gonna bother.
It has to be reciprocal, for sure.
It does, to some degree, and not always equal. It doesn't always have to be equal. But you and me, we make time for each other.
Yeah.
We do these different things and we talk about things. And, if there's something bothering you or me, relationships are really important, whether that's a intimate sexual relationship or a friendship. They're all relationships. And, I know my people now, but it took me nearly 40 years to learn my people. And I'm so happy with my people.
I think you get to know who your people are, and that goes with friendships as well as romantic relations, when you learn how to listen to your gut. You learn how to really listen to how things make you feel, rather
Yeah.
than like disregarding things. Oh, I'm just being silly. Oh, I'm sure they didn't mean it. Oh, and actually just like sticking with that didn't vibe well with me, and that's
Yeah.
not the first time.
And your friends should be able to take that information, right, without getting defensive. But also from an internal perspective, I've learned how to kind of do that in a better way, you know.
Yeah,
So it's about both reflecting. But for me, if you've got a key relationship like ours, like my other friends that you know in London and my friends here, unless something, an obvious thing happened that they did that I just couldn't get over, I'm going to work it out, right?
yeah,
You know. So
yeah.
this has become Valentine's, relationships, experiences. But I mean, this is what Lashback's about. We just go with the flow, Phoebe, don't we?
We do,
We just
and
flow.
indeed, I don't think you can talk about Valentine's Day without talking about modern day
Exactly.
relationships.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Well, I'm going to get back on the apps at some point, even
are
if it's an
you?
experiment to share with people. I won't share names, obviously, but I think that I might do that to see how it is because it's been on my mind to do it. But I've got to find time for that as well. Talking about spending time with the right people.
Right.
But yeah, let us know,
Well,
guys.
we'll have an episode about that experimentation
Yeah.
when you are ready.
Absolutely, I want to do a shout out to the listeners, and we're into a number of episodes now, and if you don't know already, we release an episode every Sunday, depending time wise, depending on where you are, America, UK, Australia, might slip into the day before, but we do one weekly without fail. We have different topics. We really want listeners to start, telling us what their thoughts are. If you've got any things you want to talk about. Lashback's key. You'll get to know Phoebe and myself more. So please do comment. And we're getting on the old social media now as well. So hopefully it will reach you, even if this is 3 weeks from when we're talking now.
Yeah, like and subscribe and all
Yeah.
of that jazz.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, I think we've spoken enough about that. We could talk forever, couldn't we?
I think
So
we'll
we'll
come
wrap
back to
this
this
episode
topic.
up. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
See you next
See
week.
you later. Bye-bye. See you next
Bye.
week.